At 82, I've learned that the most painful regrets don't hit you all at once. They creep in slowly when it's too late to turn back. And for me, the one decision that changed everything was moving into a nursing home. At the time, it sounded reasonable, even smart. My family told me, "Dad, you'll be safer there. You'll have help whenever you need it." Part of me believed them. Part of me wanted to believe them. I thought, maybe this is just the next chapter. But what I didn't realize was, it wasn't a new chapter. It was the end of one. A slow unraveling of the life I had built, the routines that made me feel like me. If you're watching this, maybe you're facing the same decision. Maybe your children are suggesting it. Maybe you've started wondering if it's time. Before you decide, stay with me. I'm going to share the 6 painful regrets I wish someone had warned me about. Things no one tells you until you're living inside those walls. Some of these might shock you. Others may sound familiar if you've ever visited someone in a nursing home and noticed that look in their eyes. The look of someone slowly fading away. And if you're already living this reality, I want you to know you're not alone. So let's begin with the first regret, and it's the one that hits the hardest. Regret 1. Losing my independence. The biggest shock wasn't the sterile room or the scheduled meals. It was how quickly I lost control over my own life. Independence is something you don't realize you're losing until it's gone. Before I moved in, I woke up when I wanted, chose what to eat, decided how to spend my day. Every little decision, even what socks to wear, reminded me that I was still the author of my story. Inside the nursing home, that vanished. Everything runs on their schedule, not yours. Breakfast? Served at 7:30 sharp, hungry or not. Lights out? Whether you're ready or wide awake. Even getting fresh air requires permission and staff availability. At first you tell yourself, it's not so bad. It's just a schedule. But what you don't realize is how those small choices define your freedom. When every decision is made for you, you stop asking. You stop choosing. Eventually, you stop caring. I still remember my first week. I woke up, reached for the book I'd been reading at home, except it wasn't there. My favorite chair, my morning coffee routine, the sound of my own house, gone. In its place, a twin bed, beige walls, and a feeling I couldn't shake. This isn't my life anymore. And here's the hard truth no one tells you. Once you give up your independence, getting it back is nearly impossible. You adapt, not because you want to, but because you have to. You stop asking for walks when no one has time to take you. You stop protesting when they bring a meal you didn't choose. And eventually, you become someone who just waits. Waits for meals, waits for visits, waits for the day to end. It's not just your freedom you lose, it's your identity. The very things that made you feel alive get replaced by a system that doesn't care what you want, only what's next on the schedule. So ask yourself, are you ready to hand over the small freedoms that make life yours? Because once they're gone, you miss them more than you ever imagined. Regret 2, feeling forgotten. There's a moment, and it always comes sooner than you think, when you realize the world outside keeps moving, without you. When I first moved in, my family promised they'd visit often. "Dad, we'll come by every weekend. The grandkids can stop in after school." And in the beginning, they did. The first few weeks, my daughter showed up with coffee. My son brought the kids, loud, full of life. We laughed, we reminisced. It almost felt like nothing had changed. But life gets busy, people get busy, and slowly the visits stopped being weekly, then monthly, then holidays. The hardest day? Thanksgiving. They said they were coming. They even called that morning. "Dad, we're running late, but we'll be there." I sat in the common room, dressed, waiting, watching the door, watching other families come and go. One by one, the chairs around me emptied, until it was just me and the sound of a TV playing a show no one cared about. They didn't mean to forget, but that's what happens. Out of sight, out of mind. And it's not just about being visited. It's about being thought of, being included, feeling like you're still part of the family, the holidays, the milestones. But when you're in a place designed to care for you, People assume you're fine. Dad's safe. He's got people around him. And slowly, you disappear from the life you built. There were days I'd stare at the phone, thinking about calling my son, but I didn't. I didn't want to be a burden. I didn't want to remind them I was still here, waiting. That's the cruelest part of nursing homes no one talks about. The loneliness is quiet, but it's constant. You stop being a father, a grandmother, a friend, and you start being just another resident. You watch others fading too, staring out windows, waiting for someone who doesn't come. You see the same look in their eyes, that silent hope. Maybe today is the day someone remembers me. If you're thinking about a nursing home, ask yourself honestly, are you prepared for that kind of loneliness? Because no matter how much your family loves you, life moves on. And once you're out of sight, it's easier than anyone wants to admit to become out of mind. Regret 3. Losing my sense of purpose. There's something people rarely talk about when it comes to nursing homes. You don't just lose your space, you lose your purpose. At home, no matter how small the task, there was always a reason to get out of bed. Brewing my own coffee, watering my plants, folding laundry while the morning sun poured through the kitchen window. Simple, everyday things. But they gave me a sense of control, a sense of meaning. But once I moved into the nursing home, those little rituals vanished. Meals, cooked for me, clothes, washed and folded by someone else. Even the plants weren't mine to care for anymore. At first I told myself, maybe this is what retirement is supposed to be. Finally resting after a lifetime of work. But there's a difference between resting and rotting. I started noticing it after a few weeks. The days grew longer. My mind wandered more. I'd sit there staring at the walls, wondering what I was even waiting for. And it wasn't just me. There was George, 84 years old, sharp as a tack. He'd spent his whole life building things with his hands, a master carpenter. At home, he was always in his garage, fixing something, tinkering. But here, no tools, no projects, nothing left to create. I watched him shrink, not physically, but spiritually. Those skilled hands that once built homes now sat idle in his lap. One afternoon, he looked at me and said, I feel useless, like I'm just waiting for the days to run out. And that hit me hard, because I felt it too. The truth is, when you no longer need to do anything, your brain stops trying, your body follows, and slowly that spark, the one that kept you living instead of merely existing, starts to fade. People think nursing homes are about comfort, but comfort without purpose is just waiting to die. If you're considering this move, ask yourself, what gives your life meaning? Because once you step inside those walls, no one hands you a new purpose. You have to fight for it, and not everyone wins that fight. Regret 4. Declining health faster than expected. Here's something no one warns you about. The comfort of a nursing home might quietly rob you of your health faster than age ever could. Before I moved in, I wasn't perfect, but I was managing. I could still cook, clean, walk to the store, and handle my daily routine. Those little actions, as tiring as they sometimes felt, kept me alive, literally. But once I settled into the nursing home, everything slowed down, and not in a peaceful, relaxing way. It was subtle at first. Meals brought to my room, help with getting dressed, someone else handling the laundry. It felt convenient. What I didn't realize was how fast convenience turns into dependence. The less I did, the less I could do. My legs weakened from sitting too long. My back stiffened because I no longer stretched or moved like before. The strength I'd spent years maintaining vanished, quietly, almost invisibly, until one day, standing up from a chair felt like climbing a mountain. And it wasn't just me. I watched neighbors, people who arrived walking strong, slowly trade their walkers for wheelchairs. People who proudly handled everything themselves, now waiting for a nurse just to help them stand. There was Alice, 81 years old. When she first arrived, she was sharp, funny, and stubborn. She refused help. Every morning she walked laps around the courtyard, swearing she'd never let this place slow her down. But as the weeks turned into months, I watched her shrink, physically and mentally. One morning I saw her sitting still, her walker pushed aside. "I don't know when it happened," she whispered, "but I feel like I've aged 10 years in just a few months." And that's exactly what happens here. See, our bodies are designed to move. Muscles stay strong because we use them. The minute we stop, we start losing not just strength, but independence, confidence, and our very will to push through. What people don't realize is that in a nursing home, the more help you get, the faster you need it. If you're considering this move, ask yourself, once everything is done for you, will you still have the motivation to keep moving? To fight for your strength when the world around you makes it so easy to give up? Because trust me, once you slow down, getting back up is harder than you think. Regret 5, the loss of privacy and dignity. There's a part of moving into a nursing home that no one truly prepares you for. Losing your privacy, and along with it, your dignity. At home, I had my own space. My bedroom was my sanctuary. I could close the door, sit quietly, read, or simply be with my thoughts. If I wanted a late-night snack or to skip a shower that day, the decision was mine. But once I moved into the nursing home, all of that, those tiny freedoms we take for granted, disappeared. From the moment I arrived, it felt like I was under constant watch. Staff popping in for wellness checks, shared spaces with no real quiet, and even the most personal moments became public. I remember the first time I had to ask someone to help me use the bathroom. No matter how kind the staff were, it was humiliating. That moment stayed with me, because once you lose the ability to handle life's most basic tasks privately, it chips away at who you are. Simple things, like taking a shower, were no longer up to me. If I wanted one, I had to schedule it and wait for someone else's availability. If the kitchen served fish that day and I hated fish, well, too bad. There's no menu of choices, just a schedule to follow. And then there was the roommate situation. Not everyone gets a private room. You could end up sharing a small space with a complete stranger, someone loud, messy, or suffering from cognitive decline. I was lucky. My roommate was kind, but others weren't so fortunate. Some nights I'd hear arguments, cries, or someone calling out all night long, and there was nowhere to escape. Privacy becomes a luxury, and dignity, that slowly fades too. When people knock but don't wait for you to answer, when they speak to you like a patient instead of a person, when your daily schedule is controlled by staff, not you, it changes how you see yourself. I started to feel less like me and more like just another resident, another task on someone's list. If you're considering a nursing home, stop and really ask yourself, are you prepared to give up the privacy and personal dignity you've spent your whole life protecting? Because once it's gone, getting it back is nearly impossible. Regret 6, realizing it's harder to leave than you think. When I first moved into the nursing home, I told myself this was temporary. I convinced myself that if I didn't like it, I could just pack my things and go home. But what no one tells you, and what I wish I'd known, is how hard it really is to get out once you're in. At first, everything feels reversible. You think, I'll try it, see how it goes. But weeks turn into months. And slowly, your old life, your home, your routines, your independence, starts to slip away. Your family trying to help might start making changes you didn't expect. Maybe they clean out your house, sell your car, or cancel your services, thinking you won't need them anymore. I remember the day my daughter said, "Dad, we've been thinking about renting out your place. It's just sitting there." And just like that, the idea of going home became harder. There was no home to return to, at least not the way I left it. And then there's the physical decline. Inside the nursing home, everything is designed for comfort. Meals prepared, laundry done, help available at the push of a button. But the longer you live that way, the more you stop doing things for yourself. Your body weakens, your confidence fades. Suddenly, what seemed easy before, cooking a meal, climbing stairs, feels overwhelming. I saw it happen to others too. Some arrived thinking this was just a stop along the way, a short-term stay to recover or adjust. But the days turned into years, and by the time they thought about leaving, they couldn't. Either their health had declined or their savings were drained paying for care. Some lost their homes completely, sold off or handed over to cover the costs. The hardest truth? The nursing home slowly becomes your entire world, and the outside life you once knew starts to feel like a distant memory. If you're considering this move, stop and ask yourself, am I truly ready for this? Or am I just hoping I'll have a choice later, when the reality is, leaving might not be possible? Because once you settle in, those exit doors, they don't open as easily as you think. Final thoughts looking back, I don't regret getting older. Aging is a gift, one that not everyone gets. But what I do regret is believing the nursing home was my only option. I walked in expecting comfort, safety, and support. What I found instead was a place that slowly stripped away my independence, my privacy, my sense of purpose, and even my identity. Does that mean every nursing home is bad? Of course not. Some people truly need the level of care provided there. For those facing serious medical conditions or unable to care for themselves, nursing homes can be a lifesaver. But before you or someone you love makes this decision, I want you to ask yourself honestly, is this really what's best or just what feels easiest right now? Because once you move in, everything changes. Your routines, your freedom, your place in the world, all of it becomes harder to protect. And getting out, that's harder than anyone tells you. If I could go back, I would fight harder to stay in my home. I would explore every alternative, home care, assisted living, hiring help, anything to keep my freedom as long as possible. Because the truth is, your independence is priceless. It's the small decisions, when you wake up, what you eat, where you sit, that make you feel alive. Once those are gone, you miss them more than you ever imagined. So if you're facing this choice, or if someone you love is, I hope this video gives you something to think about. Have you or someone you know experienced the challenges of nursing home life? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Your experiences matter, and your voice could help someone else make the best decision for their future. If you found this video valuable, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Your support helps us keep creating content that informs and empowers you. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.